Abuseni como o chana iso aha a huge politics urban. Podcast of the training make me make headlines. Jemre na iribi exumo. Unia yabo evra a black rasta actually na Aksa energy deal no unia mpemfo ahodoa sa bribe no allegedly efa omunsa se gigi sika unia enya asekotoa efa Aksa energy scandal no unia omudin ababontia black rasta ajemre na oboyincho na enya asekotoa kra shene so am say ha it politics up yomo ingro ANC 40
1 million Aksa bribe. See list of who took what as Kwabna Donko cries. Woo! We broke the news here on Friday and it went viral. This is the home of exclusives. There is this guy called Asante Kweku Bekun. He's a 52-year-old. Correct? This is the gentleman. In 2014, he was in America working with so many huge, prestigious financial outfits. And he used his connections and leveraged that to be able to get Ghana to endorse Aksa Energy from Turkey to fight our Dumso. Aksa Energy, AKSA Energy, all the way from Turkey. We all remember when Mahama came, his first tenure, there was Dumso all over the place. In fact, his middle name became Dumso. We voted him out of power majorly because of Dumso. Mahama left the presidency with Dumso hanging around his neck like an albatross. In fact, when we were even going for the next elections, that brought him into power. The biggest campaign message was not only about the free SHS, it was against Dumso. Don't bring Dumso back. It hurt Mahama a lot and the people of Ghana. Now, there was one man who had all the connections, and he allegedly brought Aksa Energy to Ghana. But how did he do it? He poured holy rain on a lot of our officials, allegedly. He allegedly gave $1 million American to the then Minister of Power, one Kwabna Donko. Kwabna Donko, we all remember, resigned in 2016 because he had failed to stop Dumso. He had put his position on the line, his ministry on the line, and told the whole Ghana, I am going to stop Dumso, but if I'm unable to stop it, I am a patriot. I love Ghana. I come from the school of Kwame Nkrumah. I will resign. And true to his words, he came out boldly and told us that he had failed to stop Dumso. And for that matter, he was resigning. Many Ghanaians begged him to stay on despite the fact that he had failed. They hadn't seen this kind of integrity amongst politicians ever, except probably in the days of Amma Ata Edu as education minister, who resigned because she wasn't able to achieve what she came to achieve for the educational system in Ghana. This is Kwabna Donko, the first minister of power that we ever had in the days of Mahama. Unbeknownst to Ghanaians, he allegedly pocketed some $1 million American. Remember, it was the dream of a politician later, my brother, my sister, to just earn $1 million American and she would be sorted out for good. We all remember Victoria Hammer, don't we? He got his $1 million American allegedly, and he walked out quietly, probably to say, to hell with this ministry. I have the chobu. According to the American files, even though it wasn't mentioned exactly how much he got or his name mentioned, we have some clue. Today we have a lot of information for you. Come here. First and foremost, let's go to Aksa, AKSA, from Turkey. How did they perpetuate this evil plan? Run the doors here and watch this. Kai. Aksa Energy is Turkey's largest publicly listed independent power producer, operating an international network of thermal, gas-fired, and renewable energy facilities. Established in 1997 as a subsidiary of Kazanchi Holding, the company operates across multiple nations, including Turkey, Cyprus, Ghana, Madagascar, Mali, Senegal, Gabon, and Burkina Faso. With a global installed capacity exceeding 3,500 megawatts, Aksa has re-entered major headlines due to its dual footprint in Africa, expanding its massive energy contracts across Ghana, while simultaneously sitting at the center of a federal U.S. bribery trial. And this is what we are interested in. It has done a lot of work in Takrady, also in Kumasi Flip, making electricity in Ghana enviable. My brother, my sister, but this is where the problem is. It's made Ghana the single largest hub of access 2,240 megawatts broader African portfolio. While Aksa continues to build out power infrastructure, its company's early entry into the Ghanaian market a decade ago, 2016, when this man was resigning, Donko, became the focal point of a major international corruption case. Flip. On the 6th of August 2026, a U.S. federal jury in Brooklyn, New York, convicted former Goldman Sachs investment banker Asante Kweku Beekun for orchestrating a massive bribery scheme on behalf of Aksa, then a Goldman client. Now, court evidence proved that between 2014 and 2017, Beekun, senior Turkish energy executives and Ghanaian intermediaries funneled over $1 million American in illicit bribes to senior Ghanaian government officials, including $46,000 American distributed directly to members of parliament to secure ratification for Aksa's original 5-year power plan deal. And this is the most interesting part: concealment and holy reign. The conspirators and co-conspirators utilize shell corporations such as Tricorp Group, fake consulting invoices, and coded language referring to income bribe payouts as holy reign to move money via New York banks. Holy reign. My brother, my sister, this was what happened. Dash. Who did the 1 million go to? Who did the money go to? Who received $46,000 American? Now, from the information that is available to us, $46,000 American each went to members of parliament who were part of the Energy Committee of Parliament at the time. Who were these people? Watch this. Now, during the 2015 parliamentary consideration of the Aksa Emergency Power Agreement, the Select Committee on Mines and Energy comprised 18 members of parliament who reviewed and recommended the contract prior to its approval by the full House. Now, drawn from the official 2015 Committee of Selection Recomposition report of the Parliament of Ghana, the specific members include committee leadership: Alhaji Amadou Bukari Sorogo, he's belonging to the NDC, Medina. He was the chairman. The vice chairman was Adam Mutawakilu, NDC, Damongo. Kwabena Tahir, aka KT Hammond, ranking member, NPP, Adanse Aswa. Can I give you more names? Can I give you more names? Flip. Watch this. Edward M. Enin, deputy ranking member, NPP of Wasi East, and then committee members, Kletus Avoka, NDC Zebila, Alaji Muhammad Muntaka Mubarak, NDC Asawase, Mahama Nasr Ture, NDC Ayawaso East, Gershon KB Bediame, NDC Nkwanta South, Salfu Amin, NDC Wa East, Kwajo Emmanuel Ajekum, Nkranza South, NDC, Michael Kofi Buampo, NDC, Bia West, Matthias, Kwame Nto, NDC, Awing, Dr. Stephen Nana Atwata, NPP, Commander Edna Eguafu, Ebrim, Isaac Kwame Esiama, NPP, Echima Mponuya, William Owureku, Edu, NPP, Efija Kwabre South, Mustafa Yusuf, NPP, Yagaba Kabore, Benjamin Kofi Aye, NPP, Upper Denchra West, Joseph Kujo, NPP, Efia. The members who allegedly pocketed 46,000 American dollars each. Now, I decided to get more information about this, and I did get. You know what it is? Now, this is the sad thing about the Ghana Parliament. When they are considering a certain contract, the select committee that sits on such a contract, they are most of the time sponsored by the company whose contract they are considering. Can I explain it further? I am saying, in the case of Aksa, while Aksa was being considered to come into Ghana and help solve Dumso, Aksa was responsible for paying the per diems per the sitting of all the committee members. And at the end of the sitting, each one of them allegedly got 46,000 American dollars. You may not consider it a bribe, but let your conscience speak. You are going to mark a student's script. A student has written an examination. Teacher, you are going to mark. Anytime you sit down to mark, the student brings you free food from his pocket. The juicier the food, the softer the hand, isn't it? He who feeds you controls you. The contract, the consideration of Aksa into Ghana, my brother, my sister, was being considered by Parliament. And the same Aksa group was paying the committee members of Parliament to sit. Now, people like the Attorney General and Minister of Justice, the Zwarungu boy, the Stanford lawyer, the cigar-chomping Zwarungu dog eater, one Dr. Dominic Akuritinga Ayene, have fought against this blatant bribery. How can you allow a contractor whose job you are going to consider for your nation to be paying you for sitting to consider this? It's bribery, absolutely. Legal bribery. My brother, my sister, the country is sick. Can the country finance this? Don't we have enough money to pay for committee sittings, yet we are always forming committees? Konumti. Now I understand why Ghanaians call committees konumti or konumti. 46,000 American dollars each for all 18. And then 1 million big chunk. They allegedly gave it to Bosu himself. There's another guy called Francis Jatta. He was the senior power advisor around the time. He's also in there. But I have good news for you. There would be something big coming up, and we're going to tell you that in this edition. But Oliver Barker-Vormawor, how many of us know him? He's a lawyer, Abu Trike's lawyer. He himself was picked up and locked up for utterances he had made and some other things like that. And getting bail was always a problem for my brother. But he succeeded in getting bail. He published something on his Facebook wall today about Kwabena Donkor. And it made interesting reading. This is Osagyefo Oliver Barker-Vormawor. Yesterday, Dr. Kwabena Donkor, former Minister of Power, called me to discuss the Bekum conviction and the media interest in the matter. We had a long and frank chat. The former minister denied categorically that he had received any money from Mr. Bekum and said that he had never interacted with the man. So if he didn't receive from Mr. Bekum, did he receive from Aksa directly? He should be telling us whether he received any 1 million around the case. It doesn't matter who he got it from. He added that as a cadre committed to the ideals of the revolution, he did not and would not betray his country in that manner. Fair enough, thank God. I was frank. I told him that when I first heard the news, I immediately thought it was him because his name was the only one anyone would associate with the Ministry of Power. I didn't actually remember he was not the only one. I said I was very disappointed personally because I have over the years held him up as an example of ethical leadership. Not many public servants promise to resign when they don't solve a crisis and actually follow through. So I don't take this call for granted. Oh yes. And hope that the promised investigation establishes the truth of what actually happened. He said he welcomed the news of an impending investigation and believes it will clear him. He mentioned that he had been advised by his lawyers not to speak publicly on the matter, but that they will soon issue a statement on the issue. This is Oliver Barker-Vormawor. And he didn't end there. He drew my attention to a couple of things and had some views on what could possibly have happened. But these are things that any investigation should and would establish. So I will speak further on those. This is what I will say, however. When I read the FBI statement on the conviction of Mr. Bekum, it said he had been convicted of conspiring to pay and also paying. And in respect of the minister, it said in April 2015, Bekum and the conspirators discussed paying $1 million to the Minister of Power, who was responsible for securing key approvals and enabling the project to progress. Dash. So this is Oliver Barker-Vormawor talking about his very good friend who he holds up in high esteem. Not many such people remain in this country. But with the youth, we have hope. We are building them up to break away from the chains of Sakawa and romance scam so they can uphold the ethics of integrity. That's where we stand. We don't need the white man's money to be able to grow. We don't need to steal to be able to grow. 1 million bribe. Former Minister Kwabena Donkor denied categorically that he had received any money from Mr. Bekum. Yes, Mr. Bekum. How about anything associated with Aksa? This is Dr. Kwabena Donkor. Now, he said that his lawyers will release a statement, and they did. What are the lawyers saying? Cavendish Chambers. Allegation of bribery in the U.S. case of Mr. Asante Bekum. We act on the instructions of our client, Dr. Kwabena Donkor, whose name has come to be associated with the above matters, which are doing the rounds on various social media platforms. Our client instructs us in very crystal clear language that he has absolutely no knowledge about the allegations linked to him. He completely and emphatically denies any knowledge of a request or demand for any money as alleged. Our client accepts that he was the relevant minister at the time material. This is a matter of public record. Our client also admits that the state, through his then ministry, the Ministry of Power, negotiated with Aksa Energy for the generation of electric power in Ghana during the relevant period. This was at the time when the country was going through the worst phase of what came to be termed as Dumso. It was a time for extreme power emergency when the country experienced extreme load shedding. He further instructs us that during the course of his negotiation, a technical team from all the electric power stakeholders in the country was sent to Istanbul, Istanbul, Turkey, to inspect the equipment which was to generate the required electricity in Ghana. This was and is the regular practice of pre-shipment inspection. But the point is, who paid for the trip? It's in the American documents that these people were taken out there, all expense paid, and they lived in luxury for the days that they were in Istanbul. And we talked about it yesterday. If you have a client,
we in some of the team also channel so I'm in our so that's an so bad in the